You ever crack your fingers on your face? My sisters think that's really weird that I do that. Anyway, this next book, I was a little bit excited for, but then, I read it and I was like, this isn't quite exactly what I thought it was gonna be. Like, um, the book is called Obsidian and the Dragon Kings, and it's a 2016 book by Kimberly Loth, and its genre is fantasy. And Google does this weird thing where instead of just saying fantasy, which we all know is under the umbrella of fiction, it says fantasy fiction, which I don't understand because it can't be fantasy nonfiction because, can't be fantasy nonfiction. Um, would you? No, I'm not going to say that. That's mean. So at the beginning of the story, there's a guy who gets eaten by a dragon, but I need you all to forget about that poor bastard because, it's fine. So there's this chick. Her name is Aspen. Aspen likes dragons a whole lot. And she also skydives and hates doing homework because she's edgy. And there's this dragon. His name is Obsidian. He doesn't want to be king because his gold scales turned black, and the black dragon, the obsidian colored one, has to be king. He doesn't want to do that because he's got this boo that he wants to stay with. Her name is Sky. But, they can't be together because she's not royalty, I guess. I don't know why they can't actually be together. And, he saw Aspen in the woods, but at first he doesn't really remember her when he turns into a human because, she has this mark. Aspen has this mark on her ankle now ever since she saw the dragon. But anyway, Obsidian has to now like go through 18 years of being human, and I'm not sure why they do this. It's some sort of rite of passage, but I don't really understand it, but whatever, I guess. And not 18, 10 years. And he has a list of like really dumb shit that he has to learn, and like the dragons aren't interacting with the humans, so I don't understand why they have to do this. His brother did it, and his brother has been a human for longer than I guess you're supposed to be. Sid is Obsidian's human name. Sid don't care. He want to be around like uh, he meets Aspen, and there was this dumb asshole named Mark who hurt Aspen. And as it would turn out later in the book, Mark is actually one of Obsidian's brothers. He's got like 7 brothers, and he's got this sister. No, this brother. His name's Prometheus. His human name is Leo. The names don't, other than Obsidian's name, the names don't really mean anything. Theo tells him that he's getting attached to the human girl and needs to stop doing that because humans are different from dragons because they're seductive, even though Aspen is literally like, Obsidian, I need you to say the actual fuck away from me. Whatever. Park rangers, remember that guy that I said got eaten by the dragon? Park rangers found his foot and his camera. So they think it was a dragon, despite everyone saying that they don't eat people because, they're just dragons living in Yellowstone Park, I guess. Um, oh yeah, this takes place somewhere around Yellowstone Park. I'm not sure on which part. Um, the dragon that ate him is golden, and he wants to eat more people. And Aspen's friend Matt was next. Yeah, Sid and Aspen find his arm. Sid accidentally seals himself to Aspen, and when the dragon seals himself to someone, that means they're going to be together. Cool. Sid keeps turning into his dragon form so he can meet with Aspen, even though he's not supposed to do that. And also, he hasn't told Aspen that he's the dragon. They can also talk telepathically. Her friend Tori really wants to be with Sid. Sid don't want to be with her, but Tori's a bitch, so she's just not Aspen's friend anymore. I'll come back to that. Um, this is all gonna go up in flames. I'm not reading the second book, but I'm pretty sure it all goes up in flames. Sid promised not to hurt Tori, and he kissed Aspen in front of her. Tori's pissed off and probably gonna lead the no dragons train. It's kind of like Easy A, where the friend who was no longer the bigger slut between the two of them, she led the train against hating Olive. That's who Tori is. Um, Sid is meant to be human for 10 years, and it's been like 2 weeks, and he's already fucked up everything. Like, also, it's kind of implied that Mark, that guy that I mentioned for a second that turns out to be Obsidian's family, it turns out that he, like, probably sexually assaulted Aspen. Take from that what you will. And, like, dragons in their human form aren't supposed to do that, so he's gonna get punished if they can catch him. More people get eaten. Sid tells her the truth. Mark comes back and Obsidian kills him, and then I think Aspen gets eaten by a dragon. I have no clue. Ugh. I like my dragon books to have a bit more dragon in them. There's so much human in this, and like I don't care. The dragon descriptions feel lacking. Tori is the trope that I hate in all media. You and your friend should not be fighting over a person. Like, if you and your best friend, y'all been best friends since like the womb. Your parents are best friends. If y'all fall apart over some person who's entering your relationship and both of you like this person, I don't know if y'all are really good friends because like I have several best friends and like if the two of us had a falling out because one of us wanted a boy that the other one got, like we couldn't be friends no more, yo. Like I don't want to be friends with somebody who's going to bring all that bad energy to my relationship every time I try to hang out with you. Like no. There's too much urban in this fantasy, and it's just boring. Aspen wants to prove that dragons aren't dangerous, but like, the dragons are dangerous. One of them is eating people. And also, one of them sexually assaulted her. Dragons are dangerous. Like, sure, maybe not all of them are dangerous, but for the most part, dragons are dangerous. So. Let's just move on. The next book is called The Glass Magician, and it's the second one. It's the follow-up to The Paper Magician. And on the back of this book, it says that this story is filled with whimsy, even though there's like actual murder in this book. Okay. And its genre is fantasy, paranormal, and romantic, and I still detest the romantic part. This book takes place 3 months after The Paper Magician. Sione is still in love with him, and she's also 20 now. Thane either hasn't noticed or hasn't said anything, but he's definitely noticed, and I know that by the end of the book. When by herself and in her thoughts, she calls him Emery by like his first name. Let me just be clear. It's not the age gap that bothers me. That's not my problem. I want to be a teacher. And M.G. Thane is her teacher, and he has violated the bond that the two of them are supposed to have. He is her teacher. You do not sleep with your students. It doesn't matter how old they are. They could be over 18. Especially shouldn't be sleeping with them if they're under 18. They could be just entering college at like 22. They could be just entering college at 44. There's a power dynamic there. You do not sleep with your students. I don't care if they're a year younger than you. I don't care if they're 10 years younger than you. The age gap is not the problem because everybody's legal. That's a very important part. The age gap is not the problem as long as everyone's legal. It's the power dynamic. Some guy named Garth wants to know what she did to Lyra. He's a glass magician, and like how Sione froze her. We still don't really even. Sione doesn't even really know how she froze her. And like they end up in a river, which Sione doesn't like. Sione almost drowned one time when she was little, so she can't swim and she's terrified. MG Avioski disapproves of her closeness with Thane, but she doesn't remove him because Sione asked him not to. And it's just like, what? Thane leaves her alone and Garth shows up again and like he failed obviously. And I thought Sione froze Lyra with paper and I have no idea. And if Garth and Lyra were leaving, then this is all Lyra's fault because if Lyra had just left Thane alone, then none of this would have happened. Sione decides that she has to stop all the craziness and she has a penchant for going off on her own, and now she's dragged one of her friends into it. Thane keeps telling Sione that she is his apprentice, and yet he keeps like hugging her closer than he should and lets her call him by his first name when they're alone. It's not the age gap, it's the power dynamic. Sione agrees to meet with Garth if he'll leave all of them alone in general, and Delilah thinks that this is all crazy because she's not wrong. Delilah is the friend that got dragged into this. MG Avioski wants to transfer Sione, but Sione refuses, even though in the next book, Master Magician, Thane knows that it's a bad idea for him to do her evaluation, so he has another teacher do it for her. That's not a spoiler, it's on the back of the book. And something, Garth Garth and Sione has a pistol, something something, Delilah's missing, question mark, something something forest. I'll be honest, I wasn't paying too much attention. I didn't really absorb a lot of it. So Thane wants to transfer her, and Sione's all hurt and butthurt about it, and it's like, if you are going to date one of your students, like, your student can't get mad at you for transferring them because it's a power dynamic and you have bias against them. You cannot fairly grade their tests. But all this wouldn't be happening if she wasn't trying to be with her teacher. I'm just going to keep coming back to that. So, Garth finds her again and he's crazy, and like, Thane finds a blood boy and traps him. I don't know what that means. Oh, one of the guys who can, like, you know how, like, with I said the paper magicians in the first book, the paper magicians and the glass magicians, they can manipulate, like, paper and glass. The blood boy, I don't remember what the exact term is, but he's one of the ones who's, like, bad because he manipulates blood in, like, the human body. So Garth dies. Sione was able to unbond from paper, and she bonded to glass, and she was able to, like, stab him, and now she knows how to bond to anything, and she rebonds herself to paper. And apparently in the next book, also, this is also on the back of the book, so it's not a spoiler, even though my videos are all full of spoilers, but still, on the back, in case you like to read them. Like, because if I say I'm reading a whole series, then you can pretty much guess that, like, we can be, like, book club, and you can read the whole series with me. But it's on the back of the Master Magician. Sione doesn't know if she should tell Thane that she can bond to anything, even though it's like, I mean, obviously, people have to know that you can unbond from things because everybody who bonds to the blood usually starts somewhere else. So, fuck. Delilah's also dead, so that's pretty great. So, like, I really think that Sione should have just gone to culinary school, because all of this is so much more trouble than it's worth. That was her original goal. If she couldn't get into magic school, she was going to go to culinary school. And I get it. The bureaucracy sucks. The magicians are taking too long. And Sione thinks that she can solve all of this. That's fine. But, like, it's different when you're, like, an actual child. Like, she's still in love with Thane, and he feels differently from what he's telling her in the book based on his actions. Sione is a magnet for trouble, and it's, like, really annoying. Avioski also, like, as much as I want her to remove Sione from the situation, she also needs to hardcore back off if she's not going to actually do anything, because she's the head of the school. She could remove Sione if she wanted to without her permission, because she's the head of the school. But whatever, I guess. And, also, moving her will only make her miserable and make her leave her apprenticeship altogether, which is what sucks about this dynamic. It's getting her to be a paper magician, though. We need more of those because there are only 7 in the world, and there's only 1 female one, so that's good. Or at least there are only 7 in Britain. And I don't know what time period this takes in. And, like, I assumed in the first book that it was, like, an alternate history that makes electricity obsolete. But they have telegrams. So, like, why did... I guess paper magicians could, like, work in libraries. But other than that, why do you need a mail system? You guys have I get that people, like, still send letters and stuff like that, but it just doesn't make any sense. But, and, like, the way they speak, I would probably, even though it's supposed to be, like, Great Britain, I would still wager, like, 1920s-ish, because they have, like, buggies and stuff like that. I still love Thane's personality. Threats on your life are no excuse for late homework. One of my professors said that, like, unless you are in a coma in the hospital, you still need to turn in your homework. Because one time there was a girl who did that. She was in the hospital and she still turned in her homework. So she set the bar too high for the rest of us. Like, these books are described as, like, whimsical and romantic. But my dude, there is murder all over these books. Sione froze somebody in the last book. Thane's heart literally got stolen. A child. Delilah is dead. Like, Sione killed Garth with glass magic. How does she not have PTSD after all of this? I made the mistake of reading Plastic Magician before I read Master Magician, so I know how Plastic Magician is going to end. Not Plastic. I know how Master Magician is going to end. But, like, my dude, these books are not whimsical at all. Like, what is whimsical about murder? Anyway. Like, Exquisitioners, that's what the Blood Boys are called. They're basically bloodbenders. They're power-hungry bloodbenders. Everyone, including MG Thane, is telling Sione to stop with the love thing. And, like, I 110% agree. Please stop. Oh my god. The Glass Magician, it goes between Dragon Assassin and Ebony Rising and the good book list. The books are very colorful. Paper Magician is red, Glass Magician is blue, Master Magician is green, and Plastic Magician is yellow. I really hope that, what's her name? Charlie Holmberg? Charlie N. Holmberg. I really hope that she writes more about the Plastic Magician because I would like to see more of that character, but we'll get to there when we get there. The next book is a piece of shit and I'm not excited about it.